Going to be a lifesaver for a lot of governments who are hurting financially.
Eric Scorsoni from the MSU Center for Local Government says losses experienced from the pandemic, like Detroit's $71 million loss in income taxes, is just the beginning.
If people continue to work remotely, some cities could lose income tax.
Produced in terms of all the full text of the legislation just a short while ago today. It does have that indirect aid for schools, but it does not have the several $100 billion in direct aid for states and cities that Democrats want.
As NBC News has reported, part of the issue is that many of these checks are just not at all, but rather prepaid debit cards, and they are enclosed in envelopes that look very similar to junk mail. And according to Yahoo News, states and government have call lines if you accidentally threw it away or just shredded apart your stimulus payment. You shouldn't be doing this because stimulus payments are important and crucial to your life. But be sure to contact the helplines if you need to get your stimulus check back. So far, about 3 million people will get one of those refunds, and to qualify, just be sure you file your tax return, folks. We got 10 views about the Ford stimulus check and Social Security benefits, and 10 views about the Ford stimulus payment, SI and SSDI. Remember guys, I always do my very important information and provide you guys with the most up-to-date, reliable stimulus check information. I want you guys to understand that stimulus payments should be on our way very soon, and I pour hours into this video researching about the stimulus check information and what President Biden is saying about this. So here's the news I found today. A lot of developments being made in Congress is all that I can say, but right now, we know that huge changes to senior citizens' lives are coming. Social Security recipients will start getting a heftier monthly benefit next month, folks, due to an annual 8.7% cost of living adjustment, everybody. The increase, the largest in more than 40 years, is going to boost retirees' monthly payments by more than $140. That's to an estimated average of $1,900 for next year, 2024. And now, the adjustment is the highest that most current beneficiaries have ever seen, because it is based on an inflation metric from August through October. It was around 40-year highs. Inflation has somewhat cooled again, and now Social Security policy analyst Mary Johnson is saying, I'm sure everyone is still just waiting because prices are so high. But now, roughly 70 million Americans will receive the increase, which follows a 6% adjustment for 2022. Many of the seniors depend heavily on Social Security, and according to the SSA, 42% of elderly women with 50% of men on the monthly payments rely on this money for the rest of their life. Even though recipients received a sizable adjustment for this year, inflation just continues to eat away. Mary Johnson already said that the increase fell short of actual inflation by an average of $42, but now it's 46% every month, or roughly $500 for the year. Retirees have been forced to turn to their savings or public assistance, and according to recent surveys by the Senior Citizens League, 1/3 of seniors reported signing up for food stamps or visiting a food pantry over the past 12 months, compared with 22% in 2020. Also, 70% have applied for assistance with heating costs, compared with 10% in 2020. It's not a new problem though, but benefits have not even been keeping up with the rising cost of living. Even with the annual adjustments, as of March, inflation has just caused Social Security payments to lose 40% of their buying power since 2000. Monthly benefits would have to increase again by $540 to maintain the same level of buying power as in 2000. It's important for me to send out stimulus payments, important for President Biden to do more, he says. But senior citizens will also see their Medicare Part B premiums drop again, folks. The first time in more than a decade, everybody. And now this is not good, because it could increase Social Security's finances on even shakier ground. We're all seeing that stimulus payments should be sent out sooner than later.
Hey, Becky, yeah, the Fed is supposed to be listening to the data, be data dependent, but it's sounding a little tone deaf these days. Wage growth, as you said, slowed, inflation is down, but Fed rhetoric remains as hawkish as ever, focused almost solely on the inflation risk, not the economic risk. Bostic said, Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic telling us there's more work to do. Esther George on Wednesday told us that the 5% rate should go well into 2024. Tom Barkin on Friday said the inflation fight isn't over. And the Minutes on Wednesday told us that no official is expecting cuts in 2023. Meanwhile, the ISM service sector contracted. December wage growth slowed. November was revised down sharply. That was the one everybody was scared about. 5-month annualized inflation is running around 2.5%. To be sure, the unemployment rate did fall by 0.2, but here's how the market reacted to all that data on Friday. The 2-year fell in 2 steps from the jobs number and then again ISM services, a sign that it sees both the inflation and the economic weakness that's out there. You couldn't see that kind of drop in the Fed rhetoric anyway. The appearance, at least by looking at the comments, is that Fed officials are not really data dependent. Instead, it looks like they've got this idea in their head to go to 5% or higher almost no matter what. Charles Calamaris, a former Columbia professor, talked to him over the weekend. He said, what's strange at this moment when things are so ambiguous is for the Fed to be acting like their actions are so predictable. The Fed may have it right. Inflation is a
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to stand before you today as the incoming House Democratic leader for the 118th Congress that will convene on January 3rd, and to be joined by my 2 good friends, amazing colleagues and partners, the incoming House Democratic Whip, Catherine Clark, and the incoming caucus chair, Pete Aguilar. Let me first begin by just expressing my heartfelt thoughts and prayers for the family of Don McKeachum, tragically passed away. The House Democratic Caucus is a family, and Representative McKeachum was an incredibly important part of that family, and he will be deeply, deeply missed. I also want to convey my thanks to Speaker Nancy Pelosi, an extraordinary speaker for the ages, who has delivered so much for so many over such a significant period of time. Our caucus is better, our country is better, the world is better because of Speaker Nancy Pelosi's incredible leadership. I also want to thank our current House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer, and our current House Majority Whip, Jim Clyburn, for their incredible friendship, mentorship, and support for all of us along.
ABC 10's Van 2 with our dollars.
Generally, if your refund is delayed more than 45 days, the IRS will pay interest on the total. Starting July 1st, the interest increases from 4 to 5%, compounded daily. There are numerous reasons the agency has fallen behind, including being short-staffed, still needing to catch up from 2020's backlog, and accounting for tax changes made in crisis stimulus legislation. Additionally, it may take longer for agents to process paper returns and those with errors, which they need to do by hand. Before the filing season even began, IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick told lawmakers that the IRS predicted that returns would be delayed this year, but the backlog should be cleared by the end of the year. So you may be able to receive money from the IRS if you don't receive your return by the mandated due date. As returns pile up at the IRS, millions of taxpayers are experiencing refund delays beyond the standard 21-day turnaround for electronically filed returns with a direct deposit refund. If you did not receive your refund within 45 days of filing, the IRS is obligated to pay you interest for each additional day. The second quarter return is an